We are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. We begin the ceremony that celebrates the oneness of life, which we acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one universal presence, which we call Spirit. Our candle lighter this morning is Michelle Kuntz. Our photographer, who is refreshing our photos after COVID. I know mine, I looked like I was about 14, and now I shows my maturity and wisdom. Let us begin. The Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practices of universal spiritual principles. Our last candle is the healing candle of love. I invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone that you wish to be included in this healing flame of love and light. Now that our flames of faith are fully lighted, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Thank you, Michelle. Our inspirational quote today is from Ernest Holmes out of The Science of Mind. The divine plan for me is perfect. I am held in the mind of God as a complete and perfect expression of life and truth. I am held in the mind of God as a complete and perfect expression of life and truth. Now more music. Is the sound all right? Is my mic on? Okay, we are now. And I think that we had a little confusion maybe on that, whether my microphone was working. And the point I want to make out of that is the people that are here in this room can experience this choir and what it is. But I'll guarantee you, if you're out there listening over computer speakers, you are missing something really wonderful. Aaron has some kind of magic dust. But they sound awesome. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Welcome and announcements. Welcome to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. For those of you who are here, it's so good to see everyone here. Amazes me. I sit down there, isn't anybody here? And I think, oh boy, it's the sunshine. Everybody's going to be at home. And then I stand up and they've magically appeared. Thank you for being here. And welcome to those of you who are watching online, whether it's live or coming in later. We indeed consider it a privilege to be invited into your homes. At this center, we embrace spiritual principles and spiritual practices. And perhaps no spiritual practice is as obvious as that of prayer, because we get to see the outcome every week. We get to see these magnificent demonstrations of the power of prayer. And if you've got a condition in your life for which you would like prayer, we have many ways you can do it. If you're here, you can simply tap one of the practitioners or myself on the shoulder, and we'll be happy to know the truth for you in one short laser moment. We used to call it a 1-minute miracle, but I think our minutes got kind of long. Some of the practitioners were a little windy, so we call it a 1-moment prayer now, 1-moment miracle. Or if you don't want to do that, these little forms are in the backs of the seats. You're invited to take that, fill it out, and I will collect them at the end of service and submit them to the practitioners, and the practitioners will pray with and for you for the whole week. And if you're out there in the world of the internet, you can go online, cslalaska.org. It's one word, cslalaska.org, and there's a big banner in there, prayer request, tap on that, and then all of the practitioners get it that way as well. Okay, prayer. Announcements for today. There's only a couple. One, out of office. Jennifer will be out tomorrow and the following Monday. I will probably be bouncing around, but no guarantees. Call first, but basically we're not going to be here on the next 2 Mondays. And on August 17th, Saturday, join us for the celebration of life for Roy and Mary Heidel. That's Joan's mom and dad. She's going to have a memorial service for them right here, 2 p.m., and you're all invited to come and join us for refreshments after the service. And I think that about does it for announcements. Before we go into special music, I want to say a little bit about our speaker this morning. Toni has been a practitioner, I don't know how long, maybe 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure. 8? Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Toni lives in Kotlik during the school year. She's a teacher in the village of Kotlik. You know, it's one thing to embrace these principles and devote to the spiritual practices that we teach. When you're here in town and you're surrounded by other like-minded people and you've got practitioners that you can pick up the phone. There's 15 other practitioners. You can pick up the phone and call in a heartbeat. It's a different mindset when you're a long way away from these principles and these practices. And even though these principles and practices are infinite and they touch everyone at all times, you're still a long way away. And I just want to honor and salute Toni for being able to stay grounded in that spiritual truth, even at a time when she's far, far away. So today we have the treat. Toni is going to be our speaker, and she's going to talk about perfectly imperfect. I think that does it for me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am Toni Shannon. I'm a licensed practitioner with the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and I am thrilled to be here this morning. And I want to begin by acknowledging and giving thanks to the Klutno tribe of the Athabascan people on whose land we stand. This year's global theme is Grand Rising. July's theme was Practice Makes Imperfect. Today's topic is Perfectly Imperfect. Perfectly imperfect. So Wow, that was interesting. Okay, so I looked at perfection in the Science of Mind textbook glossary, and it said, perfection is the real state of being, complete, so nothing is wanting. The reality of the situation, regardless of the appearance. And we know that Reverend Nancy used to always say, behind the appearance, perfection is. And I just found out today that she was quoting Ernest Holmes the whole time. Oh, so perfectly imperfect. Most of us have judged ourselves as imperfect in our learning experience, and some of our learning experiences as mistakes. And then, can we look with new eyes to transform that judgment into honoring and respecting the journey? I'm thinking about some of the illusions of imperfection. One famous mistake began as a failed invention attempt. In 1968, Spencer Silver attempted to create a strong adhesive for the aerospace industry. But to his dismay, all he created was a weak adhesive that could be removed without any residue. His project was recorded as abject failure. 6 years later, one of his friends, Art Fry, was attempting to find a solution for bookmarking his church hymnal. He wanted something that he could mark it with, but that wouldn't ruin the book, but it kept tearing. Then he tried Silver's adhesive, and it worked perfectly. So back at 3M, where both men worked, Fry searched for scraps of paper to use as prototypes to demonstrate the adhesive's rethought potential. But he could only find yellow paper. In 1977, 3 years after Fry's eureka moment and over 9 years after Silver had originally and accidentally invented the Post-it note, 3M released it in test markets under the name Press and Peel. Customers didn't know how to use it. It was pulled from the shelves, and again, failure. 2 years later, 3M created a free sample campaign, gave it away to businesses through Boise, Idaho, calling it the Boise Blitz. 90% of the businesses that received free samples reordered, and today the wildly successful Post-it notes are available as 600 products, sold in more than 100 countries. So, in your own life, when have you considered something a failure only to learn that it was part of an invention or evolution? Trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go from here. Okay, all right. No, I know. I know. Okay, so Shakespeare had Hamlet tell us in the play Hamlet, scene 2, act 2. There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And so our judgments on life. Oh, man. Oh, okay. Our judgments on life are where we get lost and get confused and start saying that things are imperfect, they are wrong, they're bad, they're not good. And so you guys all know the story about the old man with the horse, right? Should I tell you the story about the old man with the horse? Yeah. Okay, back in China, long ago, out on the steppes, there lived an old man and his wife and their son. And he had a beautiful white horse. And they were content. And they lived peacefully. And there was a king moving through the area with his retinue. And he saw the horse, and he really wanted the horse. And he said, I will give you whatever you want in my kingdom for that horse. And the old man said, the horse is my friend. I cannot trade him. And the king, being a good king, said, okay, which, isn't usually how these stories work out, right? So he went on, and 2 days later, the horse was gone. And the whole village ran to the old man, and they said, old man, you are a fool. You should have given the king that horse. You would have had something of value, because now you have nothing. The old man said, I do not know that I'm a fool. I only know I had a horse. He was my friend, and now he is gone. After some time, the horse returned with 4 of his friends, 4 shining, white, beautiful horses, just like him. And the whole village ran to him and said, oh man, you were right. It was not a bad thing. It was a good thing. Because look, you didn't give you, if you'd have given the king the horse, this horse would have never come back with 4 more. Now you have 5 white horses. And the old man said, I do not know it's a good thing. I only know I have 5 horses. Or I only know I had a horse. He was my friend. He was gone, and when he returned, he brought 4 horses, just like him. So his son, the old man's only son, was out working on the new horses and trying to break them. And he got thrown and he broke both his legs. And at the time, breaking both your legs could be horrible. Things didn't mend well. It could have been very, very bad. And the whole village ran to the old man and they said, old man, you're right. It wasn't a good thing he brought those horses. It was a bad thing because now your only son has 2 broken legs and won't be able to take care of you in your old age. And the old man said, I do not know it's a bad thing. I only know I had a horse. He was my friend. He was gone when he came back. He brought 4 friends. My son was trying to break one, and he broke both his legs. And some time passed, war broke out, and the armies went by conscripting all the young men, as they will do. And they took away all the young men in the village, but the old man's son could not go because he had 2 broken legs. And the villagers came to the old man again, and they said, old man, you're right. It wasn't a bad thing your son's legs were broken, because now our sons are gone, and your son is still here. And he said, I do not know it was a good thing. I only know I had a horse. He was my friend. He was gone. When he returned, he brought 4 friends. My son broke his legs, and now your sons are off to war, and my son is still here. So what we tell ourselves about things, are they good? Are they bad? Are they perfect? Are they perfectly imperfect? Mary O'Malley says in What's in the Way is the Way, the peace and joy you long for don't come from changing anything. They come from the ability to see and unhook from your own judgments. Whew! And sometimes that's really hard for me. Sometimes I look out and I think, man, this is not good. Or I'll scare myself. I'll go, you know what, if this keeps up, you know what's going to happen? And then the things that follow, I'm generally not telling myself, things that have rainbows and popsicles. I scare myself with doom and gloom and horribleness. And then I have to stop and remember. My friend, Reverend Cheryl Hawkins says, I like to play a little game. It's called, How Fast Can I Know the Truth? With any situation in her world. And so, Reverend Don was talking about how if I lived in town, I'd be able to call people. My phone works in Catholic. Then I call Reverend Cheryl Hawkins, and I go, Rev? And she's like, how fast can we know the truth? And then we know the truth. And we just seriously sit down and know the truth. And there's some serious truth to be known. Mark Twain said, I've lived through some terrible things in my life, and some of which have actually happened. He liked to scare himself as well. Sometimes, being perfectly imperfect, we make mistakes. Some of our mistakes turn up as regret. And there's lots of avenues and channels and ways and means to forgive and release and heal the past. But staying in the present, there are things that happen that need to be released and healed as well. This past week, I made a mistake, and, I'd like to say it was, I was in pain, I was tired, I was la, 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 la. I made thoughtless remarks that caused pain to someone I cared deeply for. And it was a short thing, but it bothered me, and I didn't like it. And I called my friend, and they were so gentle and loving, and they said, well, you've apologized, it's over. I'm like, no, how can I make this right? She's like, no, you've apologized, it's done. But still, in my heart, I want to make sure I don't do that again. I don't want to make thoughtless remarks. I don't want to speak sharply to people. People I love, people I don't know. I don't want to. I want to. They say that if I'm walking really fast and you bump into me and I'll spill hot coffee all over me, it's not because you bumped into me. It's because there was hot coffee in my cup. If my cup would have been full of joy, joy would have spilled all over me. If my cup would have been filled with love, love would have spilled all over me. And so it's like, what's in my cup? That's what I've got it. That's what I'm responsible for. So that when I spill cup, because I'm perfectly imperfect, right? And when I spill things all over, I want it to be love pouring over these people, these things, these opportunities. Another, what does Marion call it? Another opportunity for growth. So, and then that reminds me of the, I want to make sure I say this right. Kintsugi, which means to join with gold, that Japanese art of repairing objects. And so, so when we go to our friends, our loved ones, to strangers, to whomever, and we repair these relationships, we repair this, then it's like making that kintsugi, joining it together with gold, and it actually becomes more durable than it had been before it was broken, plus way more beautiful. And the fact that we are all perfectly imperfect makes it really easy to forgive someone else. Since, I don't know, I try to make enough mistakes in a day that it's not a big surprise. That when I make a mistake, I know what to do. I stay in practice. I can take care of it. So being perfectly imperfect. I know that Mary Baker Eddy said that all is perfection. Anything that's not perfection is merely an illusion. Ernest Holmes' response was, I don't think I'm smart enough to be able to see what's an illusion and what's not an illusion, because anything I don't like, I'll just call an illusion. So I'm going to know the truth. I'm going to turn away from appearance and claim the truth and continue to claim the truth until I see the truth instead of. And I don't know what their relationship was, but I did find that very interesting. Oh, in case you didn't know, this is my first time. So be gentle. Be gentle with me. Be gentle with me. The Bhagavad Gita tells us it is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of someone else's life with perfection. And Ralph Waldo Emerson tells us that compared to what lies what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. I have a poem to leave you with. I can find it. I had a poem a minute ago. It's an old one, but a good one. And I was thinking, is this really, is this really about being perfectly imperfect? And I think so. And I think more than just being, the 12-step people say they strive for spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection. But they continue to strive. They continue to strive in the direction of progress. And this poem, to me, is about striving. And it's by Rudyard Kipling. It's called If. If you already know it, you can say it along with me. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, not deal in lies, or being hated, not give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can deal with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk them on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at the beginning and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to you, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, and all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And what is more, you'll be a man, my son. So I think at this time, being perfectly imperfect, I want to invite you this week to be gentle with yourself, to be kind to yourself, to celebrate your perfect imperfections. And I think that do you guys sing now? Prayer. We pray now. We pray now. I knew there was something. I actually had that written down somewhere. Oh, yes, how good it is, how good it is. Oh. And I just invite you just to leave aside the busyness of the day and all the comings and goings and doings and what has been and what's yet to be, and go within to that still sacred place that is God. There is power and presence in the universe. All power, all knowledge, all presence, every time, everywhere, every now. I call this presence good. I call this presence God. I know God as love, light, joy, peace, power, prosperity, abundance, beauty. I know God as divine right action, unfailing source and supply, unlimited intelligence. And I know I am one with, not separate from, this power, and I know what's true of me is true of each individualized expression of God in this room, on this call, and walking the earth. God in me, as me, is me, and I know it's God's power behind my voice as I speak my word, and I speak my word right now. I speak my word for everyone listening, for everyone longing, for everyone who says yes to wanting peace, prosperity, joy, love, serenity. To everyone whose cup could be filled. To everyone's dreams And I give such thanks. I give such thanks for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you this morning. I give such thanks for each and every one. I give such thanks for the perfection that is spirit and for the perfectly imperfect that is each of us. And I release my word to the perfect working, the perfect law, knowing it is so, and so it is. And now you.
That was written by Aaron.
Good job, Aaron. Thank you. Now is the time in our service where we practice the law of circulation. If you give online, there's little things you can, in your thing, you can hold up on your heart, or you can hold your little gift to your heart if you're not an auto tither. And if you're online, see the little QR code? You can give by clicking that. You can send us a check. You can, I know there's other ways to give. Okay, that sounds like lots of ways to give. You know, it's just you can PayPal, and you can always just stop by and give us your money. Okay, so join me in the affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. And we have no children's this, so
Okay.
Reverend Don, if you pray us out.
And so as our service draws to a close this day, I am grateful. I am so grateful for this opportunity to come together to experience the powerful message and the perfectly imperfect talk that we had today, demonstrating that the power, the capital T truth, comes through no matter what. And it touches each of us in just the way it needs to be done. Powerful story of the old man and his horse and his son and his wife. We don't always see. I'm going to leave a post-it note to remind myself of that. And that is this capital T truth, is that there is something wonderful happening at this and in every moment, in this service, in all that we do. The beautiful music this day, I am so grateful, so powerful. And so I know that we are blessed. And we can carry this message, we can carry these feelings of love and peace with us all week. We know that these feelings spread out from this room, these four walls, to the greater city of Anchorage, to our state, our nation, our world, the butterfly's wings. We are grateful. And now we can just let this go and let it be. All praises be unto the one, and so it is. Amen.
It is. All right, let's have